Good morning and welcome to World News here on TVP World. I'm Marie Cato. Russian missile and drone attacks on Ukraine overnight Tuesday have left at least 6 people dead, including 2 children, and at least 15 injured. Apart from hitting residential areas, Russian missiles also struck Ukraine's energy grid, causing nationwide power outages. Half of Kiev's districts were on fire after debris from downed drones fell on the Ukrainian capital. 2 people were killed in the attack on Kiev, while 4, including 2 children, died in its aftermath in the city's suburbs. 10 people were rescued from a fire in a high-rise building in Kiev's Dniprovsky district, with a child being among 5 people who were taken to the nearest hospital. Meanwhile, Russian forces struck Zaporizhia, wounding at least 13 people in the city. These latest overnight Russian airstrikes left hundreds of thousands without power and many more without water, in what Kyiv said was part of Moscow's campaign to break Ukraine's energy system. The General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine said late on Tuesday that its forces had attacked a chemical plant in Russia's southwestern Bryansk region, often described as vital to Moscow's war effort.
In a statement on Telegram, officials said that the strike included Franco-British Storm Shadow air-launched missiles. The Kyiv Independent reports that the Bryansk chemical plant produces gunpowder, explosives and rocket fuel components that Russia uses in ammunition and missiles launched against Ukraine. Military officials said the impact on the chemical facility is still being evaluated.
It is high time the EU adopted a strong sanctions package for Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky following last night's attacks on his country. In a post published to his social media, Zelensky also said that he's counting on strong measures from the United States and the G7.
Russian words about diplomacy mean nothing as long as the Russian leadership does not feel critical problems. And this can be ensured only through sanctions, long-range capabilities and coordinated diplomacy among all our partners. It is high time the European Union adopted a strong sanctions package. We also count on strong sanctions measures from the United States and the G7, from all those who seek peace. It is very important that the world does not remain silent now, and that there is a united response to Russia's vile strikes.
US President Donald Trump said on Tuesday that he did not want a, quote, wasted meeting with his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin. Trump's comment comes after his planned summit in the Hungarian capital with Putin was put on hold.
I don't want to have a wasted meeting. I don't want to have a waste of time, so I'll see what happens. But we did all of these great deals, great peace deals. They're all peace deals. Agreements, solid agreements, every one of them. But this one, and I said, go to the line, the battlefield lines, and you pull back and you go home, and everybody take some time off, because you got 2 countries that are killing each other. You got 2 countries that are losing 5,000 to 7,000 soldiers a week. So we'll see what happens. We haven't made a determination.
NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte is due to meet with President Donald Trump in Washington later on Wednesday.
The alliance leader flew to the US on Tuesday. His trip came as discussions between America and Russia over a planned summit between Trump and Vladimir Putin on the war in Ukraine foundered. A Western official speaking on condition of anonymity told Reuters news agency that Rutte planned to present to Trump the European views on a ceasefire and any subsequent peace negotiations.
Plans to use frozen Russian assets for a reparation loan to Ukraine may soon go ahead after Belgium agreed not to block the proposal. The Belgian government had reportedly been concerned about the legality of the process on account of the frozen assets being kept in a Belgian bank. EU leaders are expected to ask the European Commission to draft a proposal that will serve as the basis for future decisions. The Commission is reportedly confident that the idea of a reparations loan using the frozen assets can be put into a legally sound framework, and that even should Russia refuse to pay, the EU would likely not be forced to return the money. According to Politico, the EU is considering using not only the 140 billion euros of frozen Russian assets held in Belgium, but also an additional 25 billion euros from private Russian accounts in various countries. The Lithuanian authorities resumed air traffic at Vilnius airport early Wednesday morning, following Tuesday's evening's temporary shutdown. The close was triggered when dozens of smuggling balloons entered the airspace of the Lithuanian capital from neighboring Belarus. The balloons, thought to be transporting contraband from Belarus, resulted in flights being redirected to other airports in places like Kaunas and Warsaw. The use of balloons for smuggling has recently emerged as a trend, complicating European aviation, which is already facing drone incursions. The incident also marks the second time this month Lithuanian authorities were forced to close the Vilnius airport due to the incursion of unknown aircraft into its airspace. The Polish government plans to save JSW, the biggest European producer of coking coal, a commodity crucial for steelmaking, making it also critical for defense production. JSW has been suffering from low prices of the commodity, but the government argues it needs restructuring.
This is JSW, the biggest producer of coking coal in Europe. But even though it's the biggest, it doesn't mean it's the strongest. And that's why the Polish government wants to lend it a hand already extended to other mining companies.
Given the financial difficulties experienced by coking coal mining companies in Poland, by which I mean JSW, we want to extend the support mechanism to cover it as well. Our goal, however, is not to close the company down, but restructure it, including layoffs.
JSW has been in the red for 6 consecutive quarters, with the company incurring an operating loss of about 0.5 billion euros in the first half of this year. The company blames global conditions for that, with coking coal prices falling by a quarter since 2024. By including the company in the mining sector support scheme, the government is essentially equipping JSW with a cushion made from taxpayer money, a cushion that will soften the blow of staff reductions.
We'll do everything in our power to save this company, or at least a significant portion of it.
But there's another factor: defense. As Poland ramps up defense spending to almost 5% of its GDP, the country wants as much of this money to flow to local companies. And defense means steel, and steel means coking coal.
No one needs convincing as to how important JSW is, not only due to the company's headcount, but also due to the important role it can still play for the Polish economy, Polish industry, and potentially for Polish defense.
Coking coal has been included on the EU's critical materials list.
The Israeli military announced Tuesday evening that it had identified 2 of the hostage remains delivered to them by Hamas. The 2 bodies have been identified as Arieh Zalmanovich and Master Sergeant Tamir Adar.
According to the IDF, Zalmanovich, who was 85 at the time of his death, was abducted from his home in Nir Oz and killed in captivity on November 17, 2023. Adar, who was 38 at the time of his death, was a member of Nir Oz Community Security Squad and was killed while fighting Hamas gunmen during the October 7th attack. The return of their bodies to Tel Aviv marks Hamas transferring 15 out of 28 deceased Israeli hostages under the US-negotiated ceasefire deal. Before the latest remains were identified, the IDF stressed that Hamas is required to uphold the agreement and take all necessary steps to return all the deceased hostages. Hamas says it is trying to do so, but it faces difficulty finding the bodies under the rubble of buildings caused by IDF's relentless bombings of Gaza.
Leaders of 6 Balkan states are due to meet British and EU officials in London today for talks on migration, security and economic growth. Before the meeting, the officials will meet with King Charles III and Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Delegations from Albania, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Kosovo, Montenegro, North Macedonia and Serbia are attending the summit as part of the Berlin process. Launched in 2014, its goal is to keep the Western Balkan countries working towards their EU membership. During the meeting, the British Prime Minister is hoping to make progress on tackling drug trade, bolstering Western Balkan nations' defences and curbing illegal migration. British officials are also seeking countries willing to host return hubs where rejected asylum seekers could be held until their deportation. Leaders of Albania and Montenegro, however, are both reluctant to have such hubs on their soil, with Albanian Prime Minister Edi Rama saying, quote, "When it comes to the hubs, or whatever they're called, I've said it and I repeat, never in Albania." The Czech capital will ban electric scooter rentals starting January next year, saying the vehicles are causing chaos on Prague's sidewalks. On Monday, city councillors approved new regulations concerning shared transport options in the city of nearly 1.5 million, which attracted over 8 million tourists in 2024.
The point is that in those parking spots, residents and visitors of Prague will only find shared mechanical or electric bicycles and vice versa. They will not find shared electric scooters there. The point is that we have had bad experiences with this here. We've had several very serious accidents, many violations have been committed, and the scooters are often left scattered around the city. It is more of a tourist attraction than a means of real transportation.
I think what bothered us the most was not so much the traffic itself, but the recklessness with which the scooters were used, and especially parked, when users, even under the influence of alcohol, would ride not on the streets but on the sidewalks, where it is of course very dangerous, and collisions and various accidents occurred quite often. I think it's okay that the municipality banned it, because otherwise you wouldn't even walk on the sidewalk in the center.
I personally don't mind it, but I think it will benefit older people who won't be so scared anymore.
Demolition crews began tearing down parts of the White House's East Wing on Monday as construction started on Donald Trump's new $250 million ballroom. While Trump lauded the project from the Rose Garden, reactions from locals and tourists have been mixed.
Most excitingly, on the other side, you see the fence and the wall. We're building a world-class ballroom. You know, for 150 years, they've wanted a ballroom here. We don't have a ballroom. We have a little cocktail area, but we don't have a ballroom. The East Room, it's called, is a very small cocktail area. It holds about 88 people if it's tight. And I said, if I do this again, I'm going to get a ballroom built, and we're putting up our own money. With the government is paying for nothing. You probably hear the beautiful sound of construction to the back. You hear that sound? Oh, that's music to my ears. I love that sound. Other people don't like it. I love it, Josh. I think when I hear that sound, it reminds me of money. In this case, it reminds me of lack of money because I'm paying for it, so it's the opposite.
Back home, if I want to put a portrait addition on, I need to get permits. And you got the historical treasures. Yeah, they're just ramrodding this through. I know, I'm sure it's going to turn into a moneymaker. And you're going to have this ginormous ballroom, bigger than the White House, which is ridiculous. So we're hoping maybe in years to come we can turn it into a gymnasium, maybe shoot some hoops and have a communal gym. And, you know, there's lots of ballrooms in town. We don't need this blocking up the view.
The winners of the 19th International Chopin Piano Competition received their awards at an official gala in Warsaw on Tuesday. The Polish president, who presented the main prize to the winner, American Eric Liu, said that for Poland, Frédéric Chopin is more than just a celebrated musical virtuoso, but an important historical figure. Poland's top officials were present at the Chopin Competition Award Gala. The event in Warsaw's Grand Theatre included an awards ceremony and a concert. The attendees included Polish President Karol Nawrocki, Parliament Speaker Szymon Hołownia, Foreign Minister Radosław Sikorski and other government ministers. The International Chopin Piano Competition is seen as one of the most prestigious piano contests in the world. This edition was won by Eric Liu from the United States. The second prize went to Kevin Chen from Canada, with Zitong Wang from China taking third place. And that concludes World News. Thank you so much for being with us, and stay tuned for more on TVP World. Goodbye.